After Xiao Yan and Yue Ru had dealt with the follow-up matters at the Moon God Palace, they disappeared into the void together, heading toward the Floral God Palace. The urgent task at hand was to ensure the safety of the two powerful beings in the Jade Pool Wonderland and Floral God Palace, as well as to locate the other two keys they held. Xiao Yan, during the time we were apart, Along the way, Xiao Yan constantly reassured Yue Ru, and little by little, she began to relax. Even the aura and strength within her body started to slowly strengthen. Yue Ru's mood brightened, and she pouted her lips, clasping her hands behind her back, gazing at Xiao Yan with a face flushed with a hint of pink. After all, this was their first real meeting in the Immortal Realm, though they had technically met earlier in the Jade Pool and Pill Realm. Well, I'm fine. At Yue Ru's question, even someone as composed as Xiao Yan couldn't help but feel a bit troubled. After parting from her on the Xinling continent, Yue Ru had been taken to the Immortal Realm by powerful figures from the Moon God Palace, while Xiao Yan, as always, had been wandering through the Ghost Realm and Demon Realm. Upon careful calculation, it seemed they hadn't seen each other for several decades. But Xiao Yan knew that the hardships he had endured in these long years were probably beyond what someone like Yue Ru, a Moon God Mark-bearer, could imagine. What about father? After asking this, both of them fell silent for a moment. Yue Ru blinked and then asked, "He's well." The Xinling continent and the entire Do-Di Four Directions continent are unified now, under the name of the Endless Flame Territory. If you have time, you can visit. Xiao Yan still couldn't bring himself to say more. Though he felt a sense of guilt toward Yue Ru, his responsibilities didn't allow him to say anything more. Whether it was the three matriarchs in the Endless Flame Territory, or Yue Ru standing before him, all right, it's a deal. No matter what happens in the future, I'll stand by the Endless Flame Territory. It was as if something about the Moon God Mark and other matters had stirred some deep mystery in Yue Ru. She seemed to know something and, with a grin, she turned to Xiao Yan. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan felt a sense of confusion, but given what had just happened to Yue Ru, he didn't pay it much attention. His thoughts were still filled with concerns about Xun'er's safety and the true schemes of the extraterritorial evil clan. Be careful ahead. The entrance to the Floral God Palace is just up ahead. Right now, the three great sacred lands in the upper three heavens of the Immortal Realm are being attacked by the extraterritorial evil clan, which is likely part of a well-planned scheme. The Moon God Palace, Jade Pool Wonderland, and Floral God Palace. The rulers of these three great sacred lands each control one of the keys to the entire Immortal Realm. When the three keys come together, they can unlock countless hidden treasures within the Immortal Realm. A rare hint of bitterness appeared in Yue Ru's heart, but she quickly shifted the topic. She was, of course, aware of the situation in the Endless Flame Territory. Now that it had three matriarchs, all of them extraordinary talents, she seemed to have reluctantly accepted that she might have to let go of certain things. Is the center of the Immortal Realm connected to these three sacred lands? As the entrance drew nearer, Xiao Yan decided to ask. The Jade Pool Wonderland's ruler, the Jade Pool Holy Mother, the Moon God Palace's Palace Master, the Floral God Palace's Palace Master, and the Chief Elder of the Alchemy Holy Hall. These four were all once powerful figures at the center of the Immortal Realm. The Immortal Realm center is different from the centers of the other 6 realms. The number of strong individuals there is extremely scarce. According to my master, excluding their descendants, only 16 named powerful beings reside in the center of the Immortal Realm. A shocking revelation quietly spilled from Yue Ru's lips. 16? Then, with 4 of them gone, there are only 12 left? Let's hope nothing goes wrong. Xiao Yan felt a wave of confusion rise in his heart. When he thought about the Bloodstone Evil Sovereign, the Half-Evil God, the 10 Eerie Coffins, and the 3 forces that had cursed him with the Dark Curse, he had an unsettling sense that great danger was looming. The center of the Immortal Realm was the most powerful place in charge of the entire realm, and yet its strong ones were so few. The Immortal Realm center itself is already a small area, and it's only natural that the number of strong individuals there is so low. Moreover, because conflicts in the Immortal Realm are rare, the Palace Masters left the center to come to the upper 3 heavens and establish their own sections. Yue Ru seemed to see through Xiao Yan's concerns and gently explained. I see now. Hearing this, Xiao Yan nodded earnestly. My master is a half-step 5th-tier reincarnation stage expert. The Jade Pool Holy Mother is already at the 5th-tier reincarnation stage, and the Floral God Palace's Palace Master has even reached the peak of the 5th-tier reincarnation stage. As for the center of the Immortal Realm, it is above all else in the Immortal Realm. According to my master, the strength of its Realm Master has already reached the subtle, transcendent level. It seemed that Yue Ru had sensed Xiao Yan's unease, and she spoke up again. If that's the case, then that's good. Xiao Yan shook his head. Having fought the extraterritorial evil clan for so long, he was well aware of the evil and despicable tactics they employed. Based on the known combat powers, the countless evil monsters, several white kings, a red king, and 2 half-evil gods. Though they aren't enough to threaten the entire Immortal Realm, Xiao Yan's instincts told him that this journey would likely end in disaster. The exit is ahead. Let's go. A soft voice sounded, and immediately, a brilliant energy surged from the two of them, enveloping their bodies in a protective aura. They stepped through the exit and left the passage behind. As soon as they exited the passage and entered the territory of the Floral God Palace, the scene before them deeply shocked them. Glup! Why are there so many evil creatures? As they stepped into the Floral God Palace's domain, the dense, dark miasma of demonic energy that filled the area caused both Xiao Yan and Yue Ru to feel an overwhelming oppressive force. The Floral God Palace, which once rested among the flower clouds, exuded an indescribable tranquility and fragrance. But now, the thick, viscous demonic energy had tainted this once pure flower sea, turning it into a sight so vile it was unbearable to look at. The thick, demonic energy spread across the flower sea, enveloping the entire world, with only the ancient, unyielding halls at the center of this demonic ocean remaining uncorrupted. Under this terrifying aura, the flow of reincarnation energy within both their bodies slowed significantly. Within this ocean of demonic energy, there were certainly powerful evil spirits capable of threatening their lives. The number of evil creatures hidden within this sea of demons is too many. Xiao Yan scanned the surroundings and said in a deep voice, "In such a surging sea of demons, the number of hidden creatures was countless. If they revealed themselves and launched an attack, even with their strength, they would likely be overwhelmed. If they were caught, the consequences would be unimaginable. Let's go this way." Suddenly, Yue Ru had a flash of inspiration, seemingly recalling a secret path leading directly to the main hall. The two of them stealthily avoided the demonic sea's assault, following Yue Ru's lead as they disappeared into a shadowy corner of the vast flower realm and sped toward the central area along the hidden path. At the same time, energy tides filled with suffocating power rippled through the ancient halls and flower sea at the top of the Floral God Palace. It felt as though an epic battle of unimaginable scale was slowly unfolding. Such a level of battle carried an aura capable of shaking the very heavens. The Floral God Palace's location was peculiar, standing atop a mountain range surrounded by countless exotic flowers. The air was fragrant and pure, forming the flower sea, which contained an ancient, powerful aura. Countless rare and wondrous flowers, in the midst of this ancient aura, seemed to defy nature as they supported ancient, massive halls that stood eerily upon the flower petals, each one towering over 100 or even 1,000 meters tall, astonishing anyone who gazed upon them. Boom! No matter how beautiful this flower sea world once was, under the assault of the viscous demonic energy, many flowers withered in the dense garden, while the remaining rare and exotic buds twisted in a sickly, eerie manner, turning dark and lifeless. Buzz buzz. As Xiao Yan and Yue Ru moved along the Flower Mountain range, heading toward a hidden cave below the surface, they suddenly heard a massive explosion coming from the flower sea world above. A black giant finger, sharp as a blade, shot down from the mountain peak, causing the earth to tremble and the mountains to collapse in ruins. The flower sea had long lost its original color, now overtaken by the rolling demonic ocean, with evil energy surging to the skies. The demonic ocean, once again accompanied by the black giant finger, descended upon the sky, smashing the very void of this world, obliterating the ancient flowers that once carried ancient power. Only a few resilient flowers remained, struggling to endure. The core of the Flower Sea realm was composed of these powerful, mystical flowers. If they were to be completely wiped out, the Floral God Palace would lose its natural protection and would be left exposed to the outside world. The overwhelming spiritual force in the air allowed Xiao Yan to feel, even without seeing, the immense destructive waves coming from the outside world. The energy required to release such a terrifying force could only belong to someone of unimaginable power. Based on his perception, Xiao Yan guessed that the source of this energy likely came from the core of the Floral God Palace. Moments later, the deafening sound of an energy explosion reverberated, and Xiao Yan's hand clenched into a fist, his veins bulging as a wave of extreme anger surged within him. Red King Class. Xiao Yan. Yue Ru, her energy unsettled due to her earlier internal fluctuations, noticed Xiao Yan's expression and could only try to comfort him. It's fine. Let's go. Xiao Yan shook his head, though deep within his heart, a long-forgotten memory surged uncontrollably. It was a precious memory from his journey through the magical Beast Mountain range on the Doqi continent, where he had met a woman named Yun. It seems our two guards were right. Even with the adults' meticulous plans, some things are bound to slip through the cracks. As Xiao Yan and the others cautiously made their way through the underground passage toward the mountain range, the earth above them suddenly began to stir. For black and sinister auras appeared, blocking their path. Glurk. 4 White King Class. At that moment, Yue Ru furrowed her brows and quickly stood in front of Xiao Yan. From the 4 auras, she could clearly sense a formidable and aggressive fluctuation. The evil energy slowly began to circulate, and with a subtle motion, the 4 auras merged into one, revealing their true form. A shadow quietly emerged from within, gazing down indifferently at Xiao Yan and the others, its eyes filled with coldness. The most striking feature was the creature's head. There were 4 living, crimson heads, not like human heads, but more akin to snake heads, coiled and ominous. A fierce aura blasted toward Xiao Yan, shaking his soul. Let me handle this. The power within you hasn't stabilized yet. Stay calm for now. As the moon god seal on Yue Ru's forehead flickered again, Xiao Yan stepped forward, positioning himself between her and the creature. What kind of dark arts are these? Peak of the second-tier reincarnation stage, the aura of 4 White King Class experts. Xiao Yan felt the surging, cold, brutal, and vengeful emotions within the 4 auras. The 4 distinct powers, each carrying its own unique temperament, emerged simultaneously in this creature, and Xiao Yan couldn't help but feel a slight surprise. Whoosh! Without a hint of hesitation, the 4-headed demon creature's body twisted as it flicked its fingers. A blast of 4-colored, evil light shot forth from its fingertips. The evil light howled, instantly piercing the void and rushing toward Xiao Yan with a powerful killing force. Heavenly Pivot. Xiao Yan's face grew slightly more serious as his soul power surged. In an instant, a spiritual garment formed and enveloped Yue Ru. At the same time, he activated the flame mantra, unleashing 5 colored flames, and pointed forward. The Heavenly Pivot was a defensive soul technique Xiao Yan had gained from the Soul Divine Source, manifesting as a spiritual garment that could effectively block sudden soul power attacks from enemies. It was an excellent method for both self-defense and protecting others. As for the Sacred Soul Heavenly Lock, which was a technique of the great celestial level, it was purely an offensive tool with immense destructive power. Boom! The 4-colored magic beam and the 5-colored flames collided, creating a violent energy explosion that shook the dim underground cavern. Die! The 4-headed demon creature, seeing that Xiao Yan's flames had managed to block their combined attack, let out a cruel laugh. All 4 of its heads closed their eyes simultaneously. Silent death light. A cold snort echoed as a scarlet bloodline, as if spanning through time and space, gathered and solidified. Shhhh. At the moment this deathly moonlight appeared, Xiao Yan felt his undying force stir, a wave of long-forgotten fear spreading through his heart. Whoosh! The scarlet bloodline, like a beam of light cutting through heaven and earth, sliced through Xiao Yan's body, sending him flying back at an alarming speed. Such troublesome creatures. Faced with the drastic change, Xiao Yan felt the looming presence of death, but was surprised to find that it did not result in any further changes. In the next moment, Xiao Yan forced himself to steady his body, coughing violently. As he touched his throat, blood began to trickle out. Though the silent death light had been partially split by his undying force, it had still caused Xiao Yan's blood and energy to surge violently. The sacred flame in your hands is nothing but wasteful destruction. Die, brat. Seeing Xiao Yan block their strongest strike in such a strange manner, the four-headed creature's eyes flickered with a hint of seriousness. Is that so? Then let me show you the true radiance of the sacred flame. Buzz buzz. With a smile on his face, Xiao Yan swiftly extended his hand. At that moment, a stunning lotus platform appeared on his palm, as exquisite as a fruit of destruction, intensifying in brilliance. Boom boom boom. Without giving the four-headed demon creature any chance to evade, Xiao Yan immediately released his grip, and Buddha's fury reincarnation erupted. Drawing on his superior soul power, it locked onto the four-headed creature with shocking precision. The sky filled with firelight, gradually bursting forth and painting the entire underground cavern with a solemn yet vibrant hue, as if washed clean by a volcanic eruption. After being bathed in such intense divine fire, the cavern felt like a new world, pristine and vivid. The evil power seemed to be fatally wounded, rapidly dissipating. Boom! In the underground cavern, waves of intense energy tides spread out, warping the very fabric of the void. Still not dead? Xiao Yan gazed at the four-headed demon creature, now battered and scarred, with some of its heads marked by the scarlet bloodstains left by the sacred flame. He asked with confusion. Surviving through the pressure of 5 sacred flames was no small feat, although this creature didn't perish under Xiao Yan's Buddha's fury reincarnation attack. It was now on the verge of death, looking as if it were on its last breath. The distance to its demise was but a hair's breadth away. In the end, it was still the immense power of the Buddha's fury reincarnation that had inflicted such devastating damage. The force was simply too violent and overwhelming. Little beast, you think you can destroy us? Don't even think about it. The four-headed technique, perish. The four heads glared, their faces twisted with hatred, their eyes filled with a frenzy of madness. In an instant, all the power within them erupted. There was a faint, almost invisible self-detonation energy, a trace of them trying to perish alongside Xiao Yan. This is bad. Xiao Yan was momentarily stunned. Though he could easily summon the Buddha's fury reincarnation now, he had just gathered enough power for such a formidable dose skill, and his energy was still adjusting. Realizing the danger closing in, Xiao Yan's power shot out again, attempting to shield himself and Yue Ru. However, the energy was a moment too late. Moon God's radiance extinguish. At this critical moment, a soft, clear voice spread out from behind Xiao Yan. A silver radiance slowly surged and shot forward, bypassing Xiao Yan, and surged toward the four-headed evil creature. The four-headed demon instantly transformed into a dark blood sphere, its surface shimmering with a chilling aura, growling and charging toward Xiao Yan. The power within it was enough to threaten his life. At that moment, Yue Ru's figure vanished from before Xiao Yan. Then, she was bathed in a bright, holy silver moonlight, the moon wheel appearing behind her, and an ancient aura spread outward. Poof! Under this overwhelming pressure, the blood sphere caused by the self-detonation of the four-headed demon trembled and hummed. In an instant, it was effortlessly drawn into the moon wheel behind Yue Ru, purified and obliterated. In the blink of an eye, the dark energy in the underground cave dissipated, and the once chaotic atmosphere returned to tranquility. Buzz buzz. This aura, and this moon wheel, could it be another divine artifact? Xiao Yan stood frozen in place, staring at Yue Ru, who now appeared as if she were a moon god's child, his mind in turmoil. When she unleashed that terrifying attack earlier, even his god-slaying ruler had sensed an extreme solemnity. It was all so strange. And though the four-headed evil creature was on the brink of death, the dark power within it was not to be underestimated. Cough cough. It's done. Let's go quickly. I have a bad feeling. The Floral God Palace must be in trouble too. Yue Ru let out a slight cough, hurriedly retracting the moon wheel and other powers, pulling Xiao Yan toward the cave's ceiling. But Xiao Yan didn't notice that every time Yue Ru used this power, the ancient force from the moon god seal on her forehead would slowly imprint itself onto the moon wheel. Only Yue Ru herself knew that once the moon god seal was completely etched into the moon wheel, the legendary figure, the divine seat woman, would surely descend once more. By then, Yue Ru's power would likely transcend this entire world. But at that time, it was unclear whether she would truly become the moon god herself, or if she would simply remain Yue Ru. Thud. The two moved at incredible speed and soon exited the underground cave, entering the core of the Floral God Palace. As they arrived in the heart of the Floral God Palace, a dizzying space barrier flickered into existence. Xiao Yan and Yue Ru felt their surroundings blur, and a thick, fragrant floral aroma filled the air. A powerful surge of earthly energy emerged. Outside the flower sea that formed the space barrier, dense, sticky demonic energy howled and battered against it, attempting to invade. Clearly, this was the core of the Floral God Palace, surrounded by a sea of demons. Within the flower sea barrier stood a range of undulating flower mountains, with several solitary peaks rising one after another, covered in colorful, brilliant flowers. From a distance, countless petals fluttered through the air, faintly forming a picturesque, otherworldly paradise. So ancient. Xiao Yan stared at the flower sea barrier, and at its farthest edge, his expression shifted to one of astonishment. At that moment, Xiao Yan could clearly sense that hidden within this holy and pure flower sea barrier was an overwhelming amount of ancient power. Additionally, a dark, evil fluctuation, which stirred several of his sacred flames, emanated from the distant peaks. Atop those peaks likely stood the residence and meditation ground of the Floral God Palace's master. The restlessness of the sacred flames within Xiao Yan only deepened his suspicion. There was surely at least one evil creature here, capable of threatening his life. Poof! As Xiao Yan was distracted, a few colorful flower petals slowly fell through the air and shot toward the two of them. Be careful, these petals are part of an ancient formation. Moreover, the fragrance from these flowers has a hallucinatory effect. Fortunately, Yue Ru was well informed and quickly intercepted the petals and the strange floral scent on behalf of Xiao Yan. The petals floated carelessly in the sky, but within them was a remarkably intricate pattern, as if they were protecting this last haven. Cracking this formation would take too much time. Is there any secret path that leads directly to the main peak? Xiao Yan regained his senses and, noticing the deafening energy fluctuations coming from the main peak, spoke with a solemn expression. The floral scent and the complex, profound trajectory of the petals all proved that this place was being protected by a formation. With the urgency of the Flower God Palace's situation, Xiao Yan had no time to waste on breaking the formation. More importantly, this formation was unlike any Xiao Yan had ever seen before. Even if he took action, it was likely. My master and senior sister Xun'er are old friends, so I know of a path to the main peak, Yue Ru said. However, the Flower God Palace's master isn't at the main peak, but rather at the side peak. Xiao Yan, follow me. Yue Ru suppressed the restless powers within her body, flicked her hand, and a moonlight aura enveloped the two of them. She swiftly led the way toward a path through the mountains, and Xiao Yan followed closely behind. Wait for me, he muttered. As they made their way toward the side peak, Xiao Yan's heart, which had been calm, suddenly began to race. It felt as if there was an old acquaintance here in the Flower God Palace, someone who could stir up his emotions. Meanwhile, on the peaks within the flower sea barrier, divine and evil energies clashed fiercely, each side seeming to be evenly matched. The overwhelming energy fluctuations made it clear that this was no small skirmish. Side peak within the flower sea barrier. The side peak was shrouded in mist, with countless delicate flowers dotting the landscape, creating an ethereal and otherworldly atmosphere. It was usually a tranquil place within the Flower God Palace, a rare spot for peace and reflection. This was also the residence of the Flower God Palace's senior sister. The mountain was mostly covered in treacherous, ancient rocks and ravines, though there were several exquisitely designed buildings and pavilions scattered about. However, no one was concerned with the beautiful scenery at the moment. Among the abundant flowers, a few figures were faintly visible, sneaking away. Their faces were grim, and their bodies were severely weakened, as if they had just survived a life-and-death battle. "Palace Master, you and senior sister should leave quickly," one of them urged. "These two thieves are after you. We'll stay behind and block them." The group of about 10 people included a middle-aged woman in a silver robe and a pale, wounded figure, her body covered in injuries. Her aura and demeanor were extremely weak. "Cough, cough. Help me up. The Immortal Realm is facing such calamities. Our Flower God Palace must not stand by idly. Xun'er, do you remember what I entrusted to you?" The injured woman forced herself to rise, her eyes filled with a chilling pressure as she spoke coldly. Thud. Before she could finish speaking, a foul, poisonous blood mixed with a dark aura slowly spilled from Xun'er's mouth. Once, Xun'er, the master of the Flower God Palace, had been one of the most supreme beings in the Immortal Realm, elegant, noble, and with a serene beauty. She carried an aura of authority that came from her high status. But now, she was in a pitiful, life-threatening state that broke the hearts of those around her. "Palace Master! Master!" As Xun'er's words fell, dozens of disciples around her, with solemn faces, spoke in unison. Rumble. The next moment, a black beam of light, like a deadly laser, suddenly shot through the air above them. The void collapsed, and a series of greedy, buzzing noises echoed through the air. "Xun'er, why resist this futile struggle? Your strength is formidable, but your internal illness has flared up. Now, you must protect your beloved disciples." Two dark figures stepped forward, their cold growls filling the air. As soon as they appeared, the energy around them began to stir violently, as if the world itself was rejecting their evil power, but to no avail. "Master!" Upon seeing the two dark figures, Xun'er's disciples were instantly filled with dread. Yun, in particular, wore an expression of deep concern and hurriedly supported the unstable Xun'er. Yun wasn't in a better state either. Her white clothes were stained with blood and dirt, and her once perfectly smooth hair was now in disarray. The usually serene and beautiful face now displayed a seriousness that had never been seen before. "Xun'er, we can't stay here long. I'll hold them off for a while, and you lead the others to leave immediately. Leave here and join with the Moon God Palace in the Jade Pool Wonderland. Then head straight to the center of the Immortal Realm. Make sure to protect the key and the sacred flame." Xun'er feigned calm as she spoke, but her robes were already soaked with bright red blood, the injuries on her body clearly visible. After a moment, she slowly lowered her head and spoke to the several dozen disciples around her. When she had left the Floral God Palace to search for the Flower God body, she had tried to save Yun from afar on the Dochi continent and led her back to the Immortal Realm. However, she was injured by a dark demon from the extraterritorial evil clan, and the wound never healed, becoming a hidden affliction. Now, her strength was severely weakened by this affliction. She could probably not even bring out the power of a fifth-stage reincarnation. The two strong opponents who had come to ambush the Floral God Palace were both at the fourth-tier stage, and with her grievous injuries, protecting her dozens of beloved disciples was beyond her strength. "Palace Master, you cannot. This time, we swear to live and die with the Floral God Palace. No matter what, we will protect you and senior sister, and fight our way out. Kill." The determined voices rang out, and immediately, everyone rose to their feet and stood in front of Xun'er and Yun. They had already shown their loyalty through action. The Floral God Palace had stood for countless years, yet there had never been a disciple with the Flower God body. However, due to some unforeseen circumstances, Yun was now the one most qualified to cultivate the Flower God body, so the disciples of the Floral God Palace naturally spared no effort in protecting her. Clap, clap, clap. Wonderful, wonderful. What a touching scene. But don't worry, none of you are leaving here alive today. 10,000 demons soul lock. One of the two dark figures stepped forward, and a strange arm, covered in countless blood-red patterns, stretched out from under his black robe, swinging effortlessly through the void. With every swing, the sacred aura of this world weakened, and a blood-red demonic light slowly emerged. Under his precise control, it transformed into a bloodlock, thousands of meters long and filled with evil intent. When the evil bloodlock fully formed, a sense of confusion flooded the hearts of the dozens of disciples from the Floral God Palace. Even the flow of power within their bodies came to a halt. "Lock this soul for me." A cold roar rang out, and the evil bloodlock shot through the void, shattering the attempts of the disciples to intercept it, heading straight for Yun and Xun'er. "No, Master, you can't die. We will make it out alive." Yun's beautiful eyes narrowed slightly, as if realizing something. Tears flowed uncontrollably from her eyes, and in a flash, she moved and stood in front of Xun'er, spreading her arms and choking out, "I won't let you die." Ever since leaving the Doqi continent and coming to the Floral God Palace, Xun'er had treated her like a daughter. Her only wish was to cultivate the flower god body and inherit the title of flower god to prove her worth as a Doshan. Now, seeing her teacher in such a critical condition, Yun's heart ached with sorrow, as if something within her was being torn apart. "Silly child, this is all destined." Crack! Xun'er gently pushed Yun away with both hands, and her body suddenly expanded, her form glowing as vibrant. Otherworldly flowers bloomed one after another. "No!" Dozens of heart-wrenching roars echoed, but in the face of the overwhelming pressure from the evil bloodlock, it seemed there was nothing they could do. Forbidden Palace. At this critical moment, a loud, divine roar, like that of a savior, rang out, echoing through the heavens and earth. Boom! A magnificent, ancient fire palace suddenly appeared from the void in front of Xun'er, enveloping her entire body in its protective embrace. The divine, ancient flame energy gradually resisted and purified the evil bloodlock. Sacred flame? Reincarnation domain? Both Xun'er and the distant blood-red demon figure exclaimed in surprise. Who fortunately, I made it in time. Xiao Yan's body leapt, and with a short distance spatial maneuver, he accurately emerged from the space where Yun had fallen. "Are you all right?" Xiao Yan's deep, gentle voice, capable of melting anyone's heart, came from beside Yun. She seemed to sense something, her gaze slightly unfocused as she looked at the lean figure before her. It took a long time before she realized that this was none other than the person she had been longing for, the one who had occupied her heart for so long. Xiao Yan. Her eyes fluttered, and a mix of joy and anxiety appeared on her face, her voice trembling in disbelief as she slowly spoke. The intertwining of time and space, and the two beloved ones reunited once more. It's been a long time. Feeling the delicate figure in his arms, especially seeing her messy hair and the pale, weak corners of her lips, a sharp pang of pain surged in Xiao Yan's heart. At this moment, Yun seemed to want to break free from Xiao Yan's embrace, but after a brief hesitation, she gently closed her eyes and enjoyed this long-awaited hug, letting out a soft, alluring hum from her nose. "Last time, I missed you." Xiao Yan looked down at the gentle beauty in his arms, and two deeply meaningful phrases quietly echoed in his mind. But, hearing Xiao Yan's words, Yun's delicate body trembled, as if she couldn't quite believe it. "There's no but, because I am who I am. I am the Lord of the infinite flame territory." Xiao Yan let out a hearty laugh, his voice containing a sense of release, along with an indescribable fury. "The Lord of the infinite flame territory, Xiao Yan?" Two dark figures in the distance exclaimed simultaneously, their eyes locked on Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan's strength wasn't particularly high, but there was something within him that seemed divine, making them wary. "Fall back. This guy is no simple matter. Do not underestimate him." At that moment, the ancient, unmoving black demon shadow hidden in the void spoke to the crimson demon shadow. "These two are the Bloodstone Evil Sovereign's two great protectors, with strength comparable to the Red King class. They have reached the 4th tier reincarnation stage, and due to the Bloodstone Evil Sovereign's mysterious evil power, their combined strength is nearly invincible below the 5th-tier reincarnation stage. At this moment, Xun'er approached with a solemn expression. Xiao Yan, look at teacher. As Xun'er approached with a sense of danger, Yun, like a startled deer, quickly broke free from Xiao Yan's embrace. This girl. Both Xiao Yan and Xun'er shook their heads, but even Yun didn't know why. Every time she met Xiao Yan, her usually calm heart would stir uncontrollably. Such sinister methods. Xiao Yan nodded and then turned his gaze to Xun'er. Xun'er's skin, flesh, and even bones all had crimson blood flowing through them. This blood was the primordial evil blood of the dark demon, and even Xiao Yan, at present, had no means to counter it. If he rashly attacked, it would probably end up harming Xiao Yan as well. It was an incredibly vicious affliction. With this dark curse, Xun'er might not have much time left. Don't worry. Reluctantly handing Yun over to Yue Ru, Xiao Yan and Xun'er both rose into the air. Although Yue Ru was surprised by Xiao Yan and Yun's relationship, after a brief hesitation, she released a gentle force to protect Yun and the remaining disciples of the Floral God Palace. Ever since the destruction of the Moon God Palace and her taking control of the Moon God Seal, Yue Ru and Xiao Yan seemed to be from two different worlds, and her mindset and emotions had gradually been changing. Are you two enjoying the fight? As they soared into the sky, Xiao Yan's lips curled into a smile, filled with an overwhelming murderous intent, as he gazed at the two intensely evil shadows before him. If he had been any later, Yun and the entire Floral God Palace would have fallen into their deadly hands. These two beasts. It seems this plan wasn't that thorough, but with your current strength, you can't bind us. The two dark figures spoke at the same time, their voices laced with a demonic echo that seemed to carry a terrifying, soul-corrupting power. Invincible below the 5th-tier reincarnation stage? Come then. Suddenly, Xiao Yan's chest began to burn with intense flames, resembling a true fire god. Even the demonic cube began to stir. Invincible below the 5th-tier reincarnation stage? Then this time, he would destroy them utterly, both physically and spiritually. A dragon has its reverse scales. Touch them, and you will incur its wrath. Xiao Yan, I can temporarily block that black demon shadow for you. The Crimson Demon Shadow has only half-step 4th-tier reincarnation stage strength. With Yue Ru, and the others' help you should, Xun'er said, her voice filled with concern. Despite the dark affliction, she gritted her teeth and continued. Then I will trouble you, senior. But the Crimson Beast, let me finish it off. Xiao Yan spoke each word slowly, his violent demeanor as ruthless as a crazed wild beast. Ha ha ha. Truly a calm guy. Even though you possess many sacred flames that strongly suppress our extraterritorial forces, I am at the peak of the 4th-tier reincarnation stage. I am not one of those lowly 3rd-tier to be compared with. The Crimson Demon Shadow seemed to find it a great joke, sneering with derision. Enough with the nonsense. Die. With a flick of his hand, Xiao Yan raised it high. Immediately, countless energies from heaven and earth converged in the void, and in the blink of an eye, a dazzling, glass-like fire surged out from his body, forming a fire dragon nearly 10,000 feet long, roaring as it charged toward the Crimson Demon Shadow with a deadly fury. SSSSS. Looking at Xiao Yan's unstoppable, terrifying attack, the Crimson Demon Shadow felt an inexplicable sense of dread rising in its heart. Such an attack had to be destroyed or resisted, or else if it were to hit, the consequences would be unimaginable. Boom. With this thought in mind, the Crimson Demon Shadow raised its head and sneered. Then, it suddenly extended both hands from beneath its black robe and clenched them tightly in the air. Whoosh! As it did, a blood-red vortex appeared in front of it in the void, filled with endless foul-smelling blood. Gazing at the intensely dark blood water swirling in the blood-red vortex, the blood shadow demon let out a cold grunt. In an instant, the blood water began to surge violently, and amidst the roiling flood, a thick, blood-red giant shield formed, resembling a defensive energy light shield, enveloping its body. Boom! The massive fire dragon, roaring with fury, struck the blood-red giant shield, unleashing the sacred power of the sacred flame with no restraint, pouring forth the hatred that the energies of this world held for evil forces. In just a few breaths, waves of energy ripples spread out across the unusually sturdy blood-red shield. Even on the shield, tiny cracks, almost invisible to the naked eye, continuously appeared. It seemed that even the monstrous evil force from the extraterritorial evil clan could not withstand the sacred flame attack released by Xiao Yan in his enraged state. Little trash. The blood shadow demon sneered as it looked at the increasingly obvious cracks on the giant shield. It immediately removed its black robe, revealing a terrifying appearance. The blood shadow demon, now fully revealed, appeared almost indistinguishable from an ordinary human, except for the twisted madness in its eyes. The blood-red evil patterns carved into its head, arms, and other parts of its body were shocking to behold, and the pressure emanating from its chest was particularly oppressive. Even its breathing had slowed down, and the blood within its body had come to a complete stop. Ryup! Just as the blood-red giant shield was about to shatter, the blood shadow demon's gaze sharpened, and an overwhelming killing intent emerged. It crushed the shield and, channeling all of its power, directed a violent attack at Xiao Yan. Endless stinking blood water, like a thunderbolt, charged towards Xiao Yan's skin and vital points. Crack! The two attacks collided with a deafening crash, causing the entire world to compress violently, like a beating heart, and an indescribable explosive rumble echoed out. In that moment, it was as if the two were evenly matched, each standing their ground.